For 200 years it's been a special country, unique, unlike any other nation in the history of the world. But now we have to decide, are we willing to do what it takes to keep it that way? Or are we going to allow it to be a nation in decline? So the bad news is this. The bad news is that if we keep doing what we are doing now, we are going to be the... Can you guys hear me? Because this is having a lot of problems, and I don't want to blow some of the ears out there. We have to decide, for 200 years this has been a special country. It's been a unique place. And one of the things that's made us unique is that this is a country where it doesn't matter where you start out in life. We believe you have a God-given right to go as far as your talent and your work will take you. But now we read last week in a poll that for the first time in a long time, a majority of young Americans and millennials believe the American dream is dead. And a growing number of Americans feel increasingly unsafe here in our own country. And so the road we are on right now, if we keep doing the things that our government is doing now, we are going to be the first Americans that leave our children worse off than ourselves. And I wish I could tell you only one party shared the blame. I think one party has most of the blame. Yeah. And one president in particular has a lot of the blame over the last 7 years. But too often we've had Republican leaders responsible as well, who failed to address the issues in a timely way or with a sense of urgency, who were content with just letting things move on, always arguing, we'll take care of it after the next election and after the next election, and it never happens. And the result of the challenges we face today, and they are real. We face extraordinary challenges to our security, and we face real challenges to our prosperity. That is the hard truth. But here's the good news. It doesn't have to stay this way. We don't have to stay on the road we're on right now. There is a new direction available for us, but we have to do it now. And that's why I chose to run for president. When I announced I wanted to run, and I had a lot of people come to me in the Republican establishment and say, well, you should wait, it's not your turn. You need to wait in line. And I said, wait for what? Wait for more of the same? Wait for the next person in line, the most familiar name? That isn't going to work this time. The time to act is now. There's too much at stake. Because we have a chance not to leave our children worse off than ourselves. We have a chance to leave the next generation of Americans as the freest and the most prosperous Americans that have ever lived. And we have a chance to make this country stronger and safer than it's ever been. That is the opportunity before us in this election. But we must take it, and we must act now. And what will it take to do that? Well, at home, it'll take two things. Number one, a government that understands that prosperity is not created by the government. Prosperity is created by the private sector. The job of those of us in government is to support policies that make America the easiest and the best place in the world for the private sector to succeed. What creates jobs in America is a pretty straightforward formula. People who have access to money. But those jobs are going to require different skills, and more skills than jobs have ever required. So we also have to make it easier and cheaper for people to acquire those skills. Now that will continue. For many people, that's going to still mean 4 years of college, and I have nothing against that. How would we have college football without 4 years of college? But it's not way too expensive. Student loan debt in America is over $1 trillion now. And part of that is because these schools have no competition. Only the accredited schools can give out loans and accept financial aid. And part of it is because there's not enough information out there. So one of the first things that I would do is I would create alternatives to the student loan. I've talked about one. It's called the Student Investment Fund, which allows promising students, especially graduate students, to get their tuition paid for by a private investment group who invests in them the way you would invest in a startup business. And if you graduate and become financially successful, the investment group makes their money back with a profit. They made a good investment on a person. And if you don't become financially successful, they made a bad investment. They lose their money. That's why we need competency-based learning programs that allow you to get credit for what you already know or what you've learned on your own. Online, through work experience, through life experience, through military experience. Give people credit for what they've already learned. And then whatever they're missing, allow them to package it from a variety of sources, including night classes, weekend classes, online classes, more work experience. The point is open up higher education to more options so more people can get the skills they need. So the paralegal making $12 an hour can make $50,000 a year. So the home health aide making $9 an hour, making $9 an hour can make $50,000 or $60,000 a year. These are better options than what we have right now. The last thing I think we desperately need in this country is we need more vocational training. We need more vocational training. We don't have enough. Some of the best paying jobs of the 21st century require more than high school, but less than 4 years of college. And we stopped training people to do that work. Raised in this country, a health inspector with a newborn child. And yet, all of a sudden, from one day to the next, took up arms against America, killed 14 people, wounded 20 others, and would have killed a lot more had it not been for the bravery and the courage of those men and women in law enforcement in California. These threats we face are real. And in the face of these threats, what are we doing? The president's destroying our military capability. Do you realize these budget cuts that he supports, they're not doing anything to balance our budget, nothing. Because defense spending is not the cause of our debt. But these budget cuts are going to leave us very soon with the oldest and the smallest Air Force we have ever had. You think about that, the oldest and the smallest Air Force we have ever had. It's going to leave us with the oldest and the smallest Navy we have had since 1950. It's going to leave us with the smallest Army we have had since before World War II. How can it be that the world is growing more dangerous and our military is growing weaker? And then you look at our foreign policy. It's confusing to our allies. In 7 years, the reputational damage that Barack Obama has done to America has no precedent. 4 years like the last 7 years. And that's why this election is so important. What we are being asked to do in this generation is not that unique. And here's why. America's never had it easy. There has never been a generation in our history that had it easy.